Hello and welcome. We decided at WiP that January would be dedicated to all subjects related to health, fitness, and nutrition. So today I'm in conversation with Shreya Shah, who's a clinical nutritionist, and she has a certified diabetes educator as well. So welcome, Shreya.
Thank you. Thank you. It's a pleasure of being here. Thank you so much.
I am so impressed at such a young age. You were associated with so many good hospitals, including working a large part with the Hirunandani Hospital in Thane. And now you founded your own company, which is called
Healthfuel.
Healthfuel. Yes. Okay. So as part of the resolutions for the new year, lot of people have, health and fitness is number one. Weight loss could be number two or is number one. You can tell me that.
Yes.
So I am going to ask you to begin with that. What do you find in the people who are coming to you is the number one, focus or goal for the year?
So obviously the month of January, I am flooded with so many patients, and everyone starts with one simple resolution, and that's weight reduction. Okay, this year I'm going to reduce. So most of the people will come down in December and they'll just book an appointment for January. So they'll be like, let us enjoy our Christmas, let us enjoy our New Year, and then come back to you and start something that we can sustain or maintain, and we don't have any distractions. Then
Distractions.
so it's majorly weight loss patients that we get, and obviously there are certain people who would do their blood test in month of the January to understand how the year is going to be on the clinical end and whether they seriously need to work on something.
Yeah.
So those are the two kind of people I usually get during the month of January. And I think you have taken a very wise decision of tagging it as a health and fitness month. January as a health and fitness month, I would say.
Shreya, what got you into nutrition?
Oh,
Your focus.
yeah. So my focus as a child also, I always wanted to be in a healthcare field, but obviously there was no clarity. Like, what should I take up? Be it like a doctor as a profession or something else like paramedical.
Yeah.
And I come from a Gujarati family, so how foodie we people are. So it's always about food, food, and food. And
Yes.
my mom is an amazing cook. So I was introduced to cooking and kitchen at a very young age, where I used to help my mom, in the kitchen to cook something. So I was introduced to the ingredients also very nicely. My mom used to use certain ingredients when we had cold and cough to treat us, and not directly give us some medication for cold and cough. So
Sure.
that's how that made me realize that why not use food to heal people rather than directly going for something like a clinical management. So the first step has to be a food or a dietary management, because maximum time of the day you spend eating food, thinking about food, and maybe you connect with people also over food. Be it meeting someone, be it going for a picnic, be it going out for a family vacation, whatever it is, it's all around food.
Food.
So that's a major part of our culture, of our lifestyle. So that was one thing that, somewhere somewhere which made me think, like, let me pick up something as simple as food,
Yeah.
and not something which is not easily available to people. Something like your kitchen works as your medicine, your food in the kitchen works as a basic tool for healing.
I know in fact, in holidays when families sit together, one of my uncles used to say, "Ki kal kya khaya jayega?" And then at breakfast, they're deciding what's for lunch, and for
Lunch.
lunch, we're deciding what's for chai, and then for deciding what's for dinner. So the whole time, and the ladies of the house are ready, and specifically winters, there's so much food, in north and everything else. So I see a lot of people these days because so much information is available on net and
Hmm.
on Insta, on Facebook, on YouTube, and there's so many life coaches who are talking about it, wellness coaches who are talking about it. So one of the things which I see a lot of my friends do at one point in time when I was younger, you were also perhaps doing is a new fad diets. अभी keto चल रहा है उसके पीछे Atkinson's था उसके पीछे कुछ और था it's protein one it is total things.
Hmm.
Tell me about what is your opinion on this new diets.
Okay, so when we talk about fad, they're also called as trending diets. So obviously, when we talk about a trend comes and a trend goes. So it's not something which stays for a longer period of time. So the simple trick or the simple tool to recognize whether it is a fad diet or not is whether it gives you, it tells you to avoid a particular food group. Like there are certain, eating plans or diet plans which tell you to avoid carbs, or certain plans which tell you to avoid protein, but that doesn't make sense because that's a major macronutrient of your eating plan. So if a diet is telling you to avoid a major macronutrient, obviously it's a red flag that it's a fat diet. Second, obviously there are so many supplements and meal replacers currently that are available in the market which tell you that you just have this protein supplement or this powder as a meal replacer, skip your breakfast or skip your lunch, and you will lose weight. So there's no magic pill or a magic powder which is going to help. And third, you just have to think sensibly. Whatever you start following an eating plan, whatever is recommended to you have to just ask yourself this question, that whether I'm going to sustain it or follow it all my life. Whether it's going to be practically possible for me to follow those eating regime all my life. If I'm able to do that, be it keto, be it intermittent fasting, it's good for you. Your body is unique. You like it that way and you have adapted to it, then it's fine. But if you tell me that I'll do keto today and then 3 days later you again go back to, your high carb diet, then obviously it's going to work very badly for your body. Plus, it's you are going to land up with a lot of clinical issues too.
Yeah.
And you will not see the results that you're looking up for. So fat diets are something which are very temporary, which are quick fixes in today's era. And I would not recommend anyone to go for such quick fixes because I have seen so many patients landing up with clinical issues after those quick fixes. And after the quick fixes, when they come to us, it's like it's a problem solving game, because then you have to motivate them and you have to tell them that it's going to take time, patience, and determination, and the result is going to come slow. So don't just make weight reduction your goal, but the goal should be a healthier lifestyle, a better sleep pattern, a good eating habit which you can follow all throughout your life, and not something for 3 months or 6 months or 2 months. And obviously good energy levels, and something that doesn't make you feel bad about not eating. So if I tell you to avoid carbs, you will always see roti and rice and say, oh, I'm not allowed to eat that, oh, I'm not allowed to eat that. And that brings in a lot of guilt, and that guilt brings in a lot of stress, and that stress again adds on to the weight gain.
No, no, I can tell you, vouch for that from my personal experience. A couple of years back, I went through, my husband was joining a diet plan and I went through it. Wonderful lady, I'm told, and came highly recommended. But I just couldn't last beyond a month. I was so unhappy. My mood was so bad all the time because I'm supposed to have only non-vegetarian food,
Oh.
soups only. Now, by choice, I like vegetarian. And
Hmm.
but because I'm lactose intolerant, I couldn't have the dairy
Dairy
products and stuff
products.
like that. So the choices became very limited, and having just non-veg was making me very, very unhappy. So then I told my husband, "You could please continue on this journey," and he did have some success to it as well. But I kind of gave up, and I said, "For me, I'll stick to what I like." But that brings me to the next question. A lot of people go to a nutritionist, and as you rightfully said, it considering you're working in hospitals, when people have chronic illnesses, they seek uh,
Hmm.
a diet plans and nutrition plans because they really want that some of the basic things be addressed, and where are they going wrong and what are they eating at
Right.
breakfast, lunch, and dinner. What percentage of people come to you for these things?
So the percentage of chronic illness patients has increased from 10% to like 50% now post the pandemic. The reason being, now obviously there's a lot of awareness that has come up. People are obviously a little more conscious about testing themselves, at least for the basic blood test like blood sugars, blood cholesterol, or blood pressure. So, and plus now there is an awareness that obviously nutrition, right food can help in putting them into remission, or sometimes help in reversing the problem, the clinical issues. So, obviously, nutrition plays as a very strong pillar when it comes to healing or when it comes to managing these clinical problems. The other thing is, I am seeing a lot of cases of pre-diabetics now. When we talk about pre-diabetics, it's just a start of you being a diabetic. So it's a range between you being non-diabetic and diabetic. And those pre-diabetic people are usually in the younger age group of 30 to 45. And now currently it's predominantly seen in the kids also, the high cholesterol level and high blood sugar levels. And that's because of the pandemic that we have been through, the sedentary lifestyle. We are working all throughout the day in front of the screen and then just eating. There's no physical activity at all. So those all things have obviously somewhere, affected the children also. So nutrition obviously plays an important role there. Now the doctors have also started recommending as an initial thing, ki if a person is newly diagnosed with high blood sugar or a high blood cholesterol level, they give the patient a chance that you do a dietary and a lifestyle management at least for 15 to 20 days or maybe for a month. They repeat the test, come back to us, and if required, then we will start you on pills, or else just continue with the dietary management. So that somewhere motivates a person ki, oh, I still have a chance, let me just try it.
But you're totally right. In fact, I remember a long time back that it was only when people were going through some heart issues or something during my parents' generations that they were asked to go and see a nutritionist and say that, you need to change your entire way,
Yes.
the oil you had and how much of fried stuff, etc. But now doctors are even asking you to seek not just for diabetes, but even for menopausal or PCOS. Is that a new trend? Because and
Yes.
can these things actually be reversed or put into remission with diet plans, the PCOS
Yes.
and
Yes. So,
yeah?
there is obviously, as I told you, there are so many studies also going on, which does help us to manage such cases. And specifically when it comes to PCOS and menopause, it's all about hormonal imbalances that a female goes through. When we talk about PCOS, obviously, back then, this word was not used at all. No one was even aware.
Where? Yeah.
Now it is like we see girls of 13 years, school going girls also, using the term PCOS and being aware about it. One. Second, obviously, when it comes to hormonal imbalances, the major thing that we have to manage is the food, the eating pattern. And the moment the food eating pattern is managed, the weight is managed automatically, your insulin is better. So there's no insulin resistance. The insulin resistance is not there automatically, your hormonal imbalances is okay. The imbalance reverses. So I have had so many young girls who have had irregular periods. That's because of the PCOS. And the moment they start eating right, start managing their lifestyle better by exercising, sleeping better, and not using too much of screen and eating right, all those things have worked wonders for them, with which they have started getting their regular cycles without any pills.
Ah,
If you go to a gynae, you would obviously be started with a pill to start the menses and stop the menses. And then it is pathetic because then that creates more havoc for your hormonal system.
sure, sure.
So
No,
it's
you,
just
you just said it. I think it's terrific if people could first come to a nutritionist, at least try to bring back
right.
whatever the thing is before going to a
True.
medical practitioner.
And specifically when we talk about the hormonal issues, it plays so much with your mood also. So there's so much of mood swings that happen, so much of frustration that comes in. And when you just put the right food in the body, the mood swings also balances out. And then you're a little better, the energy is better, and you're not hyper and you're not frustrated and cranky and irritated all the time because your hormones are better. And specifically that I see very much in perimenopausal and men, females going through a menopause phase.
I think sleep and the kind of food that you have and how it plays a havoc on your mood and fatigue and everything else is something that you need to study a lot, and really
Yeah.
so much research is there. But this is something that I think as a working person, in the corporate life, the first 30 years, I think one was completely deprived of sleep all the time. And if you sleep late, then the whole day continues like that because you're working hard and things. And I see a lot of corporate women go through it. So I'm glad that you mentioned that this is. So how do you tell people what is a red flag when they see their blood thing, or when is a good time to see a nutritionist?
So I would not say there's anything like a good and a bad time to see a nutritionist. But if a female of a family is aware ki, okay, there's the eating habits in my family are not right, or we are not doing right and we are not feeding right to our kids, they should see a nutritionist. Specifically, whenever I have a family or a husband wife coming to me for an eating plan, I always ask the wife to start the plan or start with the dietary changes. Because if a female in the family starts, automatically the husband and the kids would adapt. But when a husband starts, obviously, it's always taken care by the wife, but no one follows it. So when the female, because she's the one who manages the kitchen, she's the one who takes care of the food, so she knows what goes into the food. So if we can control there, automatically the whole family's lifestyle is managed indirectly. That's one thing. Second, obviously, whenever there is obviously clinical problems, as I mentioned, be it a weight issue or something like diabetes or PCOS or perimenopausal phase, or if you feel that you are just gaining weight but you are just eating what you have always been eating
Sure.
because you're going through some hormonal change or some stress, then obviously you should see a nutritionist, because it's not just about food, but the kind of thoughts
Thoughts.
that go in when you're eating food, and the stress levels, the sleep pattern. These all things play so much of important role, specifically in today's era. So when they come to me, I not only tell them ye khana hai, wo khana hai, but I have to tell them, you have to sleep on time. You
Yeah.
don't have to use your phone before you go off to bed. 1 hour prior to bedtime, please avoid screen. Don't discuss something stressful when you're going off to bed, so that your quality of sleep is good. Once the sleep is good, automatically your body has got the rest, recovery, and it repairs well, it throws off toxins well. So automatically you're better next day, the energy levels are good. And when the energy levels are good, when it comes to food, you think sensibly and then prepare and then eat. Because if the energy levels are not great, you're always frustrated and cranky, and then obviously you're going to pick up something that is sugary and processed. There's a lot of sugar craving that will come up when there are stress levels are high.
Sure.
So I think for a basic lifestyle management also, currently in today's era, we need a nutritionist, because the kind of processed and junk food that is so easily available with the home delivery apps coming in our phones, it's
Sure.
just that you order it and it's there in 10-15 minutes. So it's like convenience food is available more easily now. So we have become more sedentary.
No, that is true, but I would say definitely for the community that we have of women, they're very educated and they're all working. And I think for them, that kind of education may not be required, but definitely when you're stressed, something you just mentioned, that you end up eating some comfort food, right? Because
Yes,
it's either you can binge on potatoes or you can do something else, even if it is not fried or something, and you might feel that it's made in an air fryer. But simple things you
mm,
tend to do because you're very stressed. And I know that at least I can say from a bank, because we were there in banks, that women would never have lunch on time. The lunchtime would end up going to
yes.
3 o'clock,
3 o'clock,
3:30,
four
and
o'clock.
yeah, and the whole pattern would change. So if you don't stick to the same time, which we know that you should for the meal that you have, a breakfast, lunch, dinner, it just gets completely. And then
Right.
you suddenly saw young, slim girls come, and 10 years later, they're all put on 10, 15 kgs.
Yes.
Yes, one is a stage of life also, but it becomes sedentary even if they didn't want it to. And the hours are very long. So obviously the stress and everything else. So I'm very, very well put that I think it's important to educate everybody on all of these aspects.
And specifically, when we talk about the corporate lifestyle, it's very important that at least you put something in your mouth or something in your body every 3 hourly. It can be very small meal, like as simple as eating your nuts, or as simple as picking up, roasted chana and eating, or drinking a glass of buttermilk. So by the time you reach the next meal time, at least you think a little sensibly. You don't hog on food just because you're very hungry, because what happens is, if there is going to be a long fasting phase, after that fasting phase, you're so damn hungry that whatever is there around, you'll just pick up and eat, because there's so much of craving, food craving, or you feel so drained. And then, as you said, that the only happiness that we get is from the food. We derive our happiness from the food that we eat. So we are like, okay, I've worked for 6 to 8 hours, I've not eaten, then so let me just treat myself with a pizza or a burger. So at least, but what happens is, when you eat that pizza or when you eat that burger, it's going to make you feel more sluggish. It's going to make you feel more tired, because there's so much of oil, so much of fat, so much of sugar going into it. So the energy levels are not going to go up. Maybe for half an hour, they'll give you a mood booster kind of a thing. After that, again, you're going to slow down.
That's true, but it's what's been happening in senior levels. I can tell you that when people are in meetings, you don't have any control over the number of hours the meeting will go on and on. And when I got diagnosed for pre-diabetic things, I remember wanting to go and look for something, and then they would have cookies and all of those things kept there, and you would say, I can't have this. And I would say, Mari biscuit hai. When I would try to look, not that Mari is the best, but in all those ones, in the good days and all of those which were coming, you were looking for something which would do a least damage, right? Or try to look for those Nutri Choice or anything which is
True, true.
without any sweet. But I'm just saying that sometimes the meetings you don't have any control over, and those days at least I would be the only woman, and I didn't know how to manage it. So I would just have the secretaries in the same floor told that please keep some stack of whatever so that I can come. Fruit was a very good thing, but that becomes
Yes,
very difficult to eat in front of everyone.
everyone.
So I realized, and then I always carried food from home. So that I wasn't very sure with lunch, but these meetings would take care. And it happens even now. I'm sitting on boards, and I was quite amazed because most of these people are way older than I am. They're in the 70s and all that. And they are sitting there. They don't even use the loo. And I'm wondering that, either he's wearing a diaper or something else. He's not going, and I'm feeling very hungry. So now, if I'm joining virtually, I will put myself off the camera, and I'll always keep myself a cup of tea or something like that, because it becomes very difficult. But I think the awareness in this last few years for me, post having gone through some health challenges, has been amazing as to how I should manage myself, which wasn't there when I was in the corporate life, I must admit. And I have a lot of friends out there who are in the WiP community, who I want to share that I have invited Shreya to share every month little tips on each of these things, whether it is
Sure.
weight management, which is menopause, whether it's PCOS, anything. And you can please write to us which are the things that you would like her to answer for you. And she will be there to, write in aspect, because time is too short for us to have her say something about each of these. But this bit that you mentioned about 30 to 45 in pre-diabetes is, I think, a wonderful insight that we must share with our members as to what to do to avoid
Sure.
getting into the diabetes bit. So, what's the best part about your job, Shreya?
My best part is like, I get to meet new people. One. Second, obviously, I get to heal them via food. And they trust me with their, clinical parameters. They trust me. They come with a hope, okay, so this is going to be reversed. And then the excitement when they come with the renewed blood reports.
Yes,
That excitement and that happiness is a different thing that gives a lot of pleasure and satisfaction that you've done something right. So
that's true.
obviously one another thing that I'm into this profession is obviously to deliver good things to people, somewhere in a good way, and the other goal is obviously to work closely with females who can't afford a good nutritional advice. So there
Yeah,
are so many people in India, or so many young females in India who don't understand food at all. कि क्या खाना चाहिए when they are pregnant, when they are conceiving, what should they feed their baby. So those are things, community nutrition that we talk about, that's so important, because the lower class people, the female of the family is always ignored. Her health is never a priority. So that is again the another goal in future which I want to work upon, where I can deliver them some good nutritional advice for free, and they take care of their health, which is very important for every female, I suppose.
I think the women who are doing well, they end up putting their kids and the husband, everybody
Yes.
ahead of them, and they don't look at themselves. That straight off women is different. As I am reading this, I didn't tell all our members that Shreya has appeared on various media channels like ET Now and on, and she's been instrumental in educating the public about the benefits of good diet. And before I go, I must tell you that the mission of her Healthfuel, the company that she has founded, is to educate people on good eating habits and clearing off many misconceptions that exist around the world of nutrition. I love the fact that younger women like you, Shreya, are into this and educating so many people and doing such great work. We were always looking for a great nutritionist, and I must thank Leena Kulkarni for finding you out as well and connecting us. And we welcome you and WIP, and please keep educating all our
Sure.
members. And thank you for sharing such wonderful tips. Really a
Thank
pleasure to
you.
host you today.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Bye bye. Thank you so
Bye
much.
bye. Hello everyone, this is Shreya Shah. I am a clinical nutritionist and a certified diabetes educator. and I am a founder of a brand called Healthfuel, where I guide all people about eating right, about managing their clinical issues like diabetes, PCOS, menopause, high blood pressure. I'm also a Fit India ambassador. So I do a lot of events with Fit India. I do a lot of events with corporates too. So corporate wellness is another part of the work that I do along with my clinical practice. My contact details would be mentioned on the screen. So if anyone wants to connect with me, you can check the screen. And I am based in Mumbai, so anyone wants to, if do a consultation in person, they can surely drop into the clinic. Most welcome. Thank you.